Hey everyone, this is John with Sir Winston Honeybees. Hey, you want to know what happens to a beekeeper's hives when he goes on vacation for 2 weeks? Well, we're going to find out today, so let's get into it. Hey everyone, this is John with Sir Winston Honeybees. Today is Saturday, July 18th, 2026. It's about 85 degrees outside here in Northeast Ohio on this beautiful day. However, if you're following the news, we know we have this smoke coming down from Canada. We got home last night from vacation about 2:30 in the morning. We'd been gone for 2 weeks, and there was a lot of fog. We thought it was fog at first, but it did smell very strongly like uh, like campfire. So we assumed immediately that this is the smoke from Canada. Today we have quite of a breezy day, so and it's clear. So we're thinking that the smoke is clearing a little bit, but we are in the middle of a thunderstorm watch or warning right now, one or the other. All right. So we kind of have to work quickly. So what are we working on? Well, if you watch my channel, you'll know that this hive right here, hive number 1, we're calling it. I tore it apart. It used to be a bee barn, and I'll link you to the bee barn right here. All right. Bee barn video right there. And you'll know what a bee barn is. I used bee barns for about 2 years or so. Decided to take them apart this year and go back to my regular Langstroth configuration. Langstroth configuration is a deep box right here, has 10 frames, and then this is a medium box that also has 10 frames. So this is a 10 frame hive. They do come in 8 frame and 6 frame configurations also. These 2 hives right here are actually vacant nukes. Nuke is short for nucleus, and there's 6 frames in those, and they're deep frames. All right, so that's what you need to know about Langstroth hives, but I'm going to give you obviously a close-up to them here in just a second. Now, when we took this hive apart 2 weeks ago, took all the foam off it, etc., we had a queen, we marked her, and she should be in there. And about a week or so before that, or 2 weeks before that, we took this bee barn apart, returned it to Langstroth. There's also a queen in there with a white dot. So both of these have white dots. I'm assuming they're 2026 queens because I think my old queens died. So I did see also, replacement cells, if you will. They're called supersedure cells in bee language, but replacing the queen here. And I'm assuming that this one also here had, yeah, we did see supersedure cells in that one as well. You got to go back and see videos about what supersedure cells are. Maybe I'll check over here if I have a link, and maybe I'll have one for you there as well. All right, maybe this is the side I need to be playing at. Well, one side or the other doesn't make any difference. Just make sure you pay attention and learn something about bees. So we're just going to check in here, see what's going on, see if there's any brood in this this brood box here, this medium brood box, because there's no queen excluded. That means the queen is free to travel up and down, and see if she's laying, and also see if she's laying in this hive here. So that's pretty much what we're doing today. Pretty simple, and should be a quick inspection. Definitely should get it done before thunderstorms come. The other thing we want to do is, if needed, we're going to put a feeder right here, but probably won't get that till later today because I don't have any syrup made up. I do have a video about syrup, and I'll post that to you at the end, how to make syrup at the end of this video, because it's something all new beekeepers should know, is how to make syrup for your bees, especially if you're in what's called a dearth. And a dearth is that there's no nectar available, and we are getting into, if not, we are in a dearth right now. That means there's no nectar coming in, and so we have to supplement what the bees eat, nectar, with syrup, which is, well, watch the video right here, one way or the other, and you'll see what that is. All right, let's get into these hives and see what's going on. A couple of important things as beekeepers that we need to keep in mind, especially on a hot day like today. Make sure you have some kind of hydration. The suit is very warm. Oh, there's a deer right back there, and they don't mind that I'm standing here doing my thing. He might even walk up. Anyway, that's kind of cool. Little baby doe. Yeah, probably a couple months old. Hey, baby doe. Oh, he just checked me out. All right, so hydration is important. The suit is hot. In hot, humid weather, have some hydration, take a break, drink some water, all right? So safety is always first. Also, make sure you have a good suit, because right now, I haven't been in this hive in a while. They have aggressive tendencies, this particular hive, so I don't know what kind of mood they're going to be in today, especially in this heat. Bees tend to get testy in the heat. So, yeah. Now, in order to you know, make sure that my bees, or I have safety. Obviously, I have a suit, a safe suit, and I have a smoker. This is the Apisolus. I've been using the Apisolus all year. It is a smokeless smoker. Basically, it's a vape with a chemical, and it has a strong, not smoky kind of smell. It's kind of a sweet-ish smell. I can't really describe it, but just like a smoker, you use this to move your bees down into the hive. So if they get very aggressive, we're going to work quickly anyway, but if they get aggressive, we might go to our standard smoker. We'll see. I have my glasses on. I have my hive tool over here. Let's get into this hive. One thing we're kind of hoping for is to see if there's any honey or nectar in here, but more importantly, in this this box right here, this is a medium box, but more importantly, we want to see if the queen, which is a newer queen, but she is obviously already you know, ready to lay eggs and to separate male and female eggs by fertilizing them. And again, that is a process that when the queen emerges from her cell, she'll buzz around the hive. She doesn't buzz. She crawls around the hive for a few days. Then she goes and takes what's called a mating flight. And a mating flight, she'll go to something called a drone congregation area. And that's basically an area where male bees, drones, this is all the male bees do, is they fly around there, many bees, many drones from many hives, and they take turns impregnating this queen. Now, unfortunately for the drones, once they've done the deed, they die, right? And but the queen takes, you know, the sperm from the drone and stores it in her body. And then as she lays eggs, she will fertilize all the eggs that she wants to be female eggs. And those are the worker hives, or worker bees, right? Female bees. Those are the worker bees. And the ones that she doesn't fertilize will be drones, male bees, right? So it's a pretty simple process. And this is how the colony, you know, survives. All right, so there's a little biology for you. Let's see what's going on. Crack that top. And obviously, I'm smelling a good smell. It smells like a good. I don't smell like a pungent, rotten smell. I smell a good, sweet smell coming off this hive right now. So that's good. This box right here, it's a deep box. Its only purpose is to protect this bucket. And this bucket is where I keep the syrup. And I can tell you right now that it's empty. So I'm gonna make some more syrup today and bring it out to these bees tonight. Now I have a temperature sensor in this hive called a brood minder, and the sensor was telling me, and I don't know how it does this, but both hives were maintaining internal temperature of 71 degrees overnight, and especially in this heat. And the external heat was around 80 or so last night. But the brood minder somehow predicts whether or not there's brood in this hive, and it said that there wasn't. But the best way to know always is to look with our eyes. So here's the brood minder, and we always look at the top. We check for two things: small hive beetles, and I'm seeing quite a few of them right here. So we'll be treating for small hive beetles also. So how do you treat them? Well, you just smash them while you see them. So it's quite satisfying. There he is. Oh, he's crawling out. They usually tend to hide underneath things like this. All right, but there's no queen up here. And you can see the hives are already starting to get agitated as they know that we're getting in. So again, all we're doing is checking to see what the status of, if there's any brood, new brood, which is capped eggs, or capped pupa, really is what it is. So we have to be careful because the queen is able to get up to these top frames as well. Now we have a lot of propolis in this hive. I should probably put a propolis trap in here too. Propolis is nothing but, the bees don't produce propolis. All right, so this right here is drawn out, but there's no sign of queen activity. So there's no eggs, brood, or anything like that up in here. So you got a couple of small hive beetles, so definitely it's time to treat for small hive beetles again. We'll go ahead and set this to the side out of the way, and that propolis is super sticky. All right. So they're definitely, either they put nectar or there's syrup. So we wouldn't be using this for honey because I've been feeding them syrup. So you don't make honey. You don't extract honey if you've been feeding syrup. There's no queen up here. No sign of a queen. Again, she's marked with a white dot. As soon as I see her, I'll show her to you. Now, typically, she might be more in the central area. But again, we're just looking for if the queens come up here and laid any eggs or anything like that. So again, I'm seeing a syrup or nectar, probably a combination of the two. No queen up here either. This would be the area closer to the middle where we might start to see something that we're looking for. This is just empty frames on the outside. Take a close look on the inside. Again, nectar and syrup on the outside cells. The inside cells are empty, but the queen has not been in them. There's no sign of the queen on here either. Continuing to work quickly, as I told you, we do have thunderstorm warnings for today. The bees do sense that as well. Let's go ahead and puff them down with the Apisolus just to keep them a little calm. They're buzzing around outside fairly calmly, so they're behaving themselves right now. Again, this is a medium box. Typically, this type of box is saved for honey, but we're using it right now for brood to see if our queen has come up here and laid some eggs. Not seeing any sign of that here yet. Okay, a little bit of brood here in the center, cap brood. So that would be something new, but I'm not seeing anything else that indicates queen activity in here. But, you know, a cap brood is usually about 2 weeks old. So more syrup probably, not nectar, but at least they're storing it. And we're hoping that they're built up some more cells on some of these frames. And this next one right here kind of has some interesting things. So obviously there's no cells here, but look on this side. They're kind of like in different sizes, if you will. But really, could be just that I was leaning up against them. This cell is empty. Again, we're leaving it in the middle, or this frame is empty, leaving it in the middle. No sign of queen here. So again, what we're doing today is we're just checking for our queen and to see if she's laying brood. A little disappointed that she hasn't come up. This one's totally empty, not even bees on this one. And there's the last one there. I'm not going to make any assumptions about that one. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take this box off and continue our work down below. This time of year also, we get into what's called the dearth, when there's no nectar available in the flowers. You get what's called robbing. And robbing are bees from other hives that are, well, just like the name suggests, they're here robbing. All right, so now we're popping into our main brood chamber, and we see a lot more bees down below, okay? So, all right. So I'm seeing a lot of drawn new comb in this first frame. So we'll go ahead and pull it out. By the way, it's important you get yourself a good hive tool. Hive tool is the most critical tool in beekeeping. That propolis is making things difficult. Here we go. All right. So as I pull this out, you're going to see there's a lot of honey in this frame. So this frame is heavy with honey. Oh, there we go. That's what we're looking for. Okay. Excellent sign right there. We've got some brood now. It's not a very regular pattern, but this is also the outside frame. And I'm seeing some fresh larvae in those empty cells. So what I can tell you is that this is a good sign, right? That's telling us right there, this cap brood and the larvae next to it, which are like little white worms, that we have a queen, an active queen that is laying. And she's been here, well, within the past 3 to 4 days, I would say, at least. And a lot of honey on the back end. Take a quick look here. Make sure we don't see that queen, because I'm about to set this on the ground. And this is actual honey. As you can see, good, rich, thick honey. Most queens tend to hang out towards the center, but since we see evidence of her here, obviously, there's a chance that the queen's been out here. All right, so let's go ahead and, actually, I'm going to use this to hold these frames safely. And really, not just that one frame. The rest of them I can manipulate inside the deep box. So, we've seen what we want to see. But we're going to get greedy, and we're going to check these gray, let's call them gray, frames. These are our frames from 21st Bee that were not drawn out a few weeks ago. And so now the hope is that the bees have drawn them out using the energy and the food, the calories, from the syrup that I fed them and see how they're doing here. So real quick, just pop this up. Look at that. Look at that brood pattern. That's a great brood pattern right there. I am very pleased with what I'm seeing right now. Yeah, excellent. Brood pattern all the way across the bottom. And those cells that are empty have new larvae in them. Seeing some like 1 to 2 day old larvae too. Well, about 2 to 3 day old, let's say. So there's a good chance when I flip this over, my queen might be there. Let's see. Look at that brood. Look at that brood pattern. This queen is doing it. All right. So now let's get into these 21st bee frames. And I can tell you right now that it looks good. It looks good. All right. We're going to work real quickly now. We don't need to find our queen. We know our queen is in there, and we know that our queen is healthy and doing a good job. But I just want to check these 21st bee frames and see if they're drawn out. And what I can tell you right now is that these are fat with honey. Quick look, up and down, up and down. So they've drawn out this frame, finally. And again, signs of great queen activity. So we're just going to look at this one. We like what we see. And yeah. All right. Now I am seeing a couple of undrawn frames here towards the middle. So we don't need to do anything else with this hive right now. So we've had a successful inspection in this hive. And I think the queen is on that frame right there because we're seeing a lot of bees hanging out around that frame. So obviously they're interested in something on that frame right there, which is again the one I set down, which is why I didn't set her on the ground, because I have set the queen down on the ground before. All right, so you can't see, but where I put this frame down, there's a lot of bees kind of hanging around for a reason, and that reason, I suspect, is my queen is over here somewhere. She may have lost her mark. Again, we're looking for a white mark on this particular queen. Let's put this frame back in carefully. Quick inspection here. Make sure we didn't miss our queen. Sometimes they do like to hang out on the box. I don't see her. There might be some honey, and these might be robbers, but this hive is pretty populated, so they'll settle their business with these robbers if there's any in here. Knock these bees off carefully. Keep looking just in case. To be careful. There we go. All right. Don't like to be knocked around. Something you should know. All right. I'll put this back on. And as the space for the queen to lay starts to run out, which it might be, we're hoping that she moves up. She is healthy. These in this hive are telling me that they've had enough. But if you watch my videos from a few weeks ago, you'll remember that this hive has been pretty aggressive. And so the fact that they're fairly well behaved, I mean, they are bees after all, right? Tells me that the queen here, they're happy with the queen, they're happy with life, they're chilling, and all is good, all right? So I'm going to put this bucket on top. I have extra buckets. I'm going to put this bucket on top just so bees don't come in and out through this top entrance. Robbers, we don't want robbers coming in and out. So we'll make more syrup here, and that'll be out there by this evening. That does it for this hive. Once again, the brood minder said there's like 5% of brood, but it's probably reading this, the sensor is probably reading this box right here, and the brood's all down here. So I think we're good, right? All right, we saw what we wanted there. Let's move on to hive number 1. Remember, of course, one quick reminder, 2 things. Please subscribe to my videos and like them. And number 2, this is a good time to take a little break and have a drink of water. So I'm going to do that. Meet me over at my next hive. All right, so let's get started on this other hive, the one affectionately known as hive number 1. One thing I got to make sure, right? You know, beekeeping is hard work. It's hot in this time of the year. But make sure, if you have bees, just have fun. All right. Ooh, this box is very sticky with propolis. I got to get those propolis traps. I think they're in my freezer. Now, any byproducts of the hive, like beeswax or propolis, I don't use it. I usually just give it away. But just spent 2 weeks out of town. 1 week in Washington, D.C. I'm a history teacher. and I did a 1-week workshop there from the Cato Institute on civil discourse in the classroom. And then I went to Nashville, Tennessee, where I started a 1-week bus tour of all the Civil War sites of what was called the Western, let's call it the Western Front, not really the Western Front, but you know, the West, right? So we went to Mississippi and Tennessee, and we learned a lot. It was really, really great, very, very interesting. And that was from an organization called Founding Forward. Okay, this bucket's also empty, and as you can see, there are more bees in this hive, but there will be more population in that hive too soon, as you can see from all the brood. So unlike the other hive, these bees are just kind of chilling. As a matter of fact, I'm going to point this out. Those bees from hive number 2, they're not coming here now, which is what they were doing a few weeks ago. So good sign of the queen and the bees liking their current situation, as they say. All right, I think I'll be out of here before the rain's coming. Hey, if you're interested in getting the Apisolus, I'm going to put the link below, and make sure that you use the code Winston20 at checkout for a 20% discount on the Apisolus. It is a bit pricey, but it's definitely worth getting. All right, so this is my inner cover. Again, that's where the bees are feeding. Go ahead and pop that open. Very sticky from propolis. Like I was saying before, propolis is the bees don't produce propolis. It's actually something like a sap they get from trees. All right, quick look at the inner cover. I'm seeing a couple of small hive beetles, so we'll be bringing those small hive beetle traps out here pretty soon. It's also time to start treating for mites. So once we get some cooler temperatures, maybe sometime later this week or next week, here's my brood minder. As you can see, this is the temperature sensor. This one tells me that there's like 5% brood in this hive. And you know, that's a company, you can find the equipment on the website if you want to gauge your hive temperature. So as you can see, we have a lot more bees on this upper box than we did on the other one. So this is the box that I tore apart 2 weeks ago. So I want to see if, number one, they've drawn out, used the syrup to draw out some frames. And if, again, there's no queen excluded, that means the queen can come up here and lay eggs in this top part. So we're going to go ahead and inspect that. I'm going to come on this side and check and see if she's been up here generating more bees. Again, we don't need to find a queen. We just need to find evidence that the queen has been up here. So we see again, you know, deposit of some either nectar or the syrup. And again, a reminder that if you're feeding syrup as a beekeeper, you can't extract your hives if it's syrup. Now we're getting into a dearth period, so syrup is probably important. Well, not probably, it is important. You know, the bees get food from 2 separate sources. They get it from pollen, which they've been collecting, and of course you can also supplement the pollen. And they get it from, and that is of course their protein. Pollen starts with P, and so does protein, just like pool. That's a joke for theater fans. There's brood. That's definitely fresh brood, cap brood, and I see some larvae in there. So the queens come up here, and that's a good thing, because when the queen comes up, you know, what you really want at this time of year is large populations of bees. And, you know, that's how you become successful, especially as I know it's only July, but we are heading into fall here pretty soon as far as beekeeping is concerned. So it's kind of like our middle innings, if you will. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Look at that. Look at that cap brood. That's beautiful. What a beautiful laying pattern this queen has too. And again, an old queen, 2 years old plus, probably wouldn't be laying like that. So this is excellent. I'm going to see if I can find her real quick. Larvae at various stages. My eyesight, even with these cheaters, I can't spot eggs anymore, especially on a white background. That's why when you get deep boxes, they come with black. They come with black foundation, which is what the cells are built on, the beeswax, if you will. And black foundation obviously is easier to pick out white eggs. And eggs, you know, bee eggs, they look like little grains of rice. And a queen deposits 1 in each cell that's available. So again, I like to twist this here. We're just going to check for that queen up here. We're not even going into that bottom box. We are very happy. And the bees are super calm. Super calm. This hive has been super calm all year. So like I said, this is kind of like the middle innings of beekeeping. This is where you want to continue brood production. You want to obviously feed for to create more beeswax, if you will, and keep the bees healthy. Also, since we are in the middle innings, if you will. Boy, that was a lot of stuttering there. There's no food, so you have to feed. You have to feed. What do you think, guys? If you have any questions or comments? If I'm screwing up, I got to know that too. So make some comments down below. If you have questions, feel free to ask questions. And of course, subscribe. Subscribe to my channel. Give me a thumbs up. Let's keep this channel going, and we can educate each other about bees. So, what are the different parts of the beehive so far? Well, we've learned the cells are made of wax. Propolis is made of a sap. And propolis, the purpose of it is just to kind of seal the hive. Seal the hive from insects, pests, robbers, etc. Also to maintain temperature and humidity. In this kind of heat, how do the bees maintain cooler temperature? Well, here's what they do. They find a water source. And I have a creek right behind me here, so that's my water source. The bees do kind of like funky water. And you want a water source because my next door neighbors have a pool, and we don't want my bees drinking water out of the neighbor's pool. So they drink out of the creek behind us. They bring that back here to the hive. They'll distribute it into the cells, and then to keep things cool, bees will flutter their wings, kind of create like a fan, right? And that'll keep the hive cool. Let us know that the queen is healthy, and I am willing to bet that there's a lot of brood down here in these chambers, or in that box, my deep box. So I'm not even going to go there. I'm just going through this just out of curiosity to see if we can find the queen, if I can show you this queen. Hopefully I don't smash her with my thumb. That would be dumb. Like I mentioned before, this queen has a white dot. Both my queens have white dots. Now, there is a marking system for bees that rotates every 5 years. I don't know exactly the pattern, but it is white. So white will be for 6 and 1. And then for 2 and 7, it's going to be a different color, like green. Then we have pink, blue, and yellow. So those are the colors, 5 colors, that we rotate every 5 years to mark queens. I've decided, since I'm not a commercial beekeeper, I'm just going to mark them white, because that's the easiest color for me to spot. Some of these other colors, just more mysterious to me. So anyway, I'm going to stick with white from here on out. If you're a beekeeper, you just keep it simple, right? Keep it simple for yourself. That's what you want to do. Don't complicate things. So I have every color marker. I bought them from Mel over at Blue Sky Bee Supply. So what's Blue Sky Bee Supply? Well, Mel owns Blue Sky Bee Supply. And if you're in Northeast Ohio, you're on the east side of Cleveland, you typically buy all your supplies, if you don't get them online, from Blue Sky Bee Supply in Ravenna, Ohio. So I'm east of Akron, and I work up in Manaway, which is, close to Ravenna. So on my way home from work, I can order on my phone, and by the time I get to Blue Sky in Ravenna, on my way home, Mel will be waiting for me with my stuff. And then, Mel is so awesome. She loves talking bees. She's from Manaway too. And we'll just end up talking about bees, for 30 minutes. And she is a great resource. Now, if you're in west side of Cleveland, most beekeepers go to Queensrite colonies, where they also do queens, but they're also a beekeeping supply place, and that's located in Spencer, Ohio. So west side beekeepers get their stuff from Queensrite. East side of Cleveland beekeepers get their stuff from Blue Sky in Ravenna. All right, so time to close this up, especially because the longer you keep a hive open in this kind of, if you have a dearth, you're starting to invite those robbers, and you don't want to invite robbers. It can get really messy. So how do I prevent robbers? Well, I keep a very small hive entrance. I always maintain a small hive entrance, and I don't have a top entrance for the bees. That's how I do it. It works for me. Again, if you think it's wrong, comment below. All right, so just like we did the last hive, pop this guy on here. And again, we're gonna make some syrup. This just covers up the feeder, nothing else. You know, animals are attracted to hives, obviously, and we don't want animals getting into our stuff. All right, so that wraps up inspection of hive number 1, and I only have 2 hives, so that's it for today. All right, meet me on the other side, and we'll talk a little bit about what we saw today. Wow, what a great day we had today in the apiary. Yeah, we had some good evidence of queens. You know, hive number 1, queen hasn't moved up here yet, but lots of brood down here. Queen is doing well. Hive number 2, actually, yeah, this is hive number 1, 2, yeah, hive number 2. That's the one where we saw the queen just in the lower box. Hive number 1, the queen is, you know, laying brood both top and bottom box. What a fantastic thing to see. You know, as a beekeeper, sometimes you have days where you wonder, I've been doing this for 5 years, and you wonder, like, why am I doing this? So frustrating. There will be days as a beekeeper that will be frustrating, all right? But don't give up. Don't give up. Just continue, you know, watch YouTube videos, read about it, go on the internet, etc. YouTube is the best place to learn about beekeeping. There's lots of beekeeping, you know, influencers. There's some that have thousands and thousands of viewers. Not me. I only have about 200, and that's why I need you to subscribe to my channel. All right, keep subscribing, keep giving me those thumbs up. If you have questions, ask me questions, obviously in the comments below. And if you, I promised you a video about how to make syrup for your queens. So make sure, like I always said, to have fun, to have happy bees. And if you want to see that video, click it. I'm going to put it for you right here.